A balcóisiún an banna láisiid BBC Alpa san hí turas na dáhíle sa ríchiid agus apar céimir san ar cuascatáil a dú. Ha Hibernian ag a dais a curfáilte ar Celtic sa gach bréip gan a bhla ceannat lú beá seoch it BBC Alpa. Allo fiscmagah agus fáiltíar a good céimór a seoch it BBC Alpa. A sin an na bailgan léimhne dú agus apar lá idir go le hacan a chaid carfuair ach fuach anna as a céimór garíú. It fáidir sa mér magáid lán fáilte chríal a chur ar reneolaich was not cúteach go dú Pauline Níchgáil. Pauline, many thanks for being with us here on BBC Alpa today. It's our first game of 2022. Set us up, what can we expect?
I honestly believe that I think these two teams have met twice already this season, and both games very, very closely contested. And I would expect nothing more than that, nothing less than that today.
Absolutely. There's a couple of games being played earlier on today. Let's take a look at these results. Any surprises there for you, Pauline?
I think most people would have expected Glasgow City to have maybe came away with a more convincing win over Hamilton Accies, but all credit to Gary Doctor and his side for setting up nearly perfect tactically to try and at least come away with a point from the game. But yeah, that's probably the one that stands out to myself.
And with Rangers winning, they stretched their lead over Celtic to 6 points. I suppose, is there any pressure on Celtic today, given the gap now?
Yeah, I think there absolutely is. They really need to stay in touch with Glasgow City. And as Fran always kind of alludes to, that, you know, it's very, very important for every game that they go into. The expectation is 3 points. And
Celtic come into this match today having won the League Cup in December there. What an occasion for Celtic, and they were worthy winners on the day with a great win over Glasgow City, Pauline.
Yeah, they absolutely were. I thought they showed fantastic desire and togetherness. I think from minute 1 to minute 90, they were the better team, and like you say, worthy winners. And I think from that will bring real confidence and a real exciting start to the second half of the season.
And psychologically, what will that cup win do for Celtic? Because that was their first trophy since 2010.
I think it just shows that all the hard work that they put in on a daily basis is definitely paying off. We've always known that they've had really great mental strength and resilience and great togetherness, but to actually get over the line is so important. And I think, you know, it'll be a fantastic game this afternoon and a fantastic second half of the season.
Absolutely. And in terms of the home side today, what have you made of Hibernian this season, Pauline?
Hibernian are a very good side, especially out of possession. They defend very well. They have a good understanding and they don't leak a lot of goals. But I think for them, trying to really improve on their attacking play, their fluency, and creating more attacking chances and being a little bit more ruthless in front of goal.
Pauline, the teams are coming out, so we'll leave it there to say we'll hear more from you throughout the match and commentary. Thanks very much far for that so far. Many thanks. Canéis sin dulgáil suas chuna spiris go ar the neacharish a dulcar stúrach tonna game. Ellen McLeod.
And yeah, Blinur va vis on the Hibs not the Celtic due at Tony Macaroni Arena Shin Kist vor la skach skipper dogus geval Cormacha haast strip suas UNC Rangers is Glasgow City Ekmulach and SWPL Acha dar on the Champions League na ban Margoish it's on Darna Acha as a clar agus big bona who is shot on Balogun Levin Mahim Friesal as Nimmer Shin Dean Gibson in Arachu the skipper Ekison but again Vigirig Joel Murdoch and captain is Chingish Jack on the line of Cool it below Emily Much Boyle Hunter agus Muir Collerisha Leishman Notley McGregor agus Kavanagh as a Vian Snorson Gallagher is Coyle who is as a line A Mishnoch Yorick Celtic Kuchok Da Arachu Guyson Rachel Johnston Eter na push if Bielusha ha Shorts Hayes is Warrington Chances Hearts Norton as a Vian Le Bowie is Craig if Gach Clay Kenneth Harke Shane Mengu agus Jacinta Norton le Charlie Wellings who is Harst. The Hibs of the Vinegate ha English Malone Eddie McAloney Livingston is Morriston ne Roinian Ekfran Alonso Bartle Ladisi Clark Toland Atkinson Olive Starter Grosh agus McAllister Chanel Cheek Lee Celtic in the Vinegate ba. Rachel Joe Fer Hayolach Gillior if Realton Craig Wilson na Lug Cronchachkin agus being a clicker in the dogs if he in the first in the Logan and Ekison Jew. Da skipper a chin a shock good Balogun Leva Mara Horseman happened higher Fiaching Rich Darna Archashin as a league reing Shia Pungen at the Celtic agus Glasgow City initiatives J a game not but a high Jew so Norton Jehan Shach Pungen Ille a UNC Hibs as a Heruache Hibs leis yn captain achga Joel Morach y ting yn ashtach Iolas bwr eichgisio an y geminin mar sio agos I iddo fi cleithda Hibs fwn I fai dwsan blin o gys Celtic Mae'r haffi sacking y dolysdach yn y hydol achgus yn agos fys achga gybi Fran Alonso agos o hwle Daniela ac hed le tyf Celtic achga iddo chwys cyw y geri yn y tri pingin y diw a ciol y dol Big an lucht taith gach yng nghas nhw'r eil sy'n y ciol ych nach bwyd ach coed cyd niach ceitich y sio eg Tony Macaroni arena ach na cleichyd yr yn ynysht y tîn ymach agos ad gyfi Shesu y hwlwyd te achga yn y gran cynni y da sgybau Celtic agos Hibs mar y ha na sgybau yn biagatyl an y nymig lig an y nymig dwych an y so hwla haatje iddo fi fiach yn rhoi stad y chwydd idd gran cynni agos na cleichyd yr yn y sio y chwydd lan haich rys na hymersyn a hysyn. Yn reich yr Jesial ysdionoch, Craig Wilson, diolch y Gianno. Cyn diolch gyfel o hwle dynia ila Jesial ysdionoch. Byg an Corw Eckerson, le na cleichyd yr yn na cleichyd yr yn mar o hwrs mi y Shesu yn eist yn ei gran chynni fiagadyl. Snorsyn y sio an yn balwg yn leife Charlie Wellings gyfi cyfingem gydol gy Celtic Hibs y dochus na gemyn yn mygirig y hwntach mewn gwrst from the chailad y dag yn mygirig iddo season se dy Celtic y gag y hyn. Y da sgipau, diolch y sapat y mi yn y parcydd, son y fawr, Gallagher. Fiach yn y cwysyn y hochbrygw, gachwyd yr as yn y lein y chwyl. Muir ysdiach, snorsyn iddo sgyrlig y mach gysnasal le Hibs yn y chliau gile. Big an stri y tyf hal y farcyr, cafra cieri. Cwgwyn y gyreich yr eisiau, chadwyd i sy'n. Ach, chadjan magi stoch y cysgiar yn I anw. Mi'n y cwgwyn yn chad trasioc y US y gêm. Trwyg y sydd as y lein y chwyl. Hasyn y ffeiking hes y ting yn nôl agos cwysyn y hochgrygig. Agos nos yn sien y cwtio mydd y fal y ffagal gyda Hunter gachwyd machas farc ach le Hibs leis y fal gael satal ysdiach coel y stris yn y fal a nos yn iddo horst siachat le Bartley sy'n cwsroadur falofydd Joel Morach as o'n fi gain ach a Hibs gachw mal Gasgulwg sŵs y ffarca. Rwy snasal sŵs. Oh, cas ysdiach. Y sydd fo Sarah Harks y cydstatyd yn ymwyr sy'n fo Hibs. Cwtio mi sy'n edd Warrington ach a I dianw cleich y machas yn nos yn sy'n gan y ffarca ysio. Ei Celtic y dianw ers dy sŵs y ffarca. Bala ti'n gywelings eisiau. So yn y sadal ysdiach y horst gysnasal. Yn y fang yn gorym gyda fai cwsroata. Gibson, Dean Gibson, manager Hibs. Ha fiaching mar y hwrs mynd eisiau. Skip Eggers yn y stwri gys na gemyn yn da game ydy'r da skip y sio ydy season se da game sy'n idd criwch na hwg y gag y hyn gys Celtic. Agos Gibson y fiaching ni sy'n ar y hwg y diw. Gyma ffrenasoch gyrwch y sio gyhari fy Celtics at y fiach yn ei pwchtig yr ersdach. Chynil Hibs y ffang mor ancorym y tîn cwys i enw. Agos eisiau captain Celtic Chloe Craig iddo legal. Chrwcw sawn diolch y thorst greim iddo y goal line agus sin facal gal skip Fran Alonso fang gorum an game chud godal a chat joch gachlich gegerid shorts an notion fiachni sin a lorach chatúdi if sin agus a line sin facal gefel Hibs trogalager ting suas to Jace gonna farke cliche snasal ashe shit iter Hunter agus notion not Liamian na parke Ríist had a chawl agus Celtic fiachni togal mar hoors mi game frennesach gerukke seo skippe seach skippe it mór an úne einge de val da skippe a fisses J úne at de je ag an de nollegs of lenud fiaching se ball is is de Wellings chanierig chain as jolige na sin as a vokse ach aper Junsi is jache het was de bal val worpe agus sinne facal nach dúdi chorum iad dagar targach scanial sin for Amy Gallagher could start iad Charlie Wellings for we feinge nerd beigische iad targach Giroch scanial Pauline great last edge tackle there.
Yeah, absolutely was. I think, you know, Siobhan Hunter maybe just overestimates that she can maybe step in and intercept there, and it's a great recovery challenge by Amy Gallagher and just does enough for her team.
Gianno Giglior Gitjera ma itir de Hibs dolle dierig streik joch na sluggen a koik minute in is a game ha seo game hake vi darf gaivach mar Isaac Kings mar hoors mi Celtic kan chigli ieder veinges mar sinne na roinjen stoch roinjen en varach en mei ieder vaarke te Fran Alonso ach bere dofus nach nog dat Rachel Johnston it en push gaivs en hezen is gaskelig soes bal vria vakke vi anlache va klikket er Hibs Rachel Boyle kus jolas eichgesche en vi started ballig mar sin agus Chloe Craig captain Celtic ydw captain Avis joch achge Kelly Clark milische evenjum chugus skipatáise chi Rash maha Emily much it na push de Hibs fiachna cúsin a hoch táise chu ríist ball a skulig tarsing a sin Gallagher go bhí fiach in riain and hang in Corums Johnston well se ball car kunnastoch if sin stoch over Johnson ach ha carta grí loch taich agus loch coachi Celtic you grad de kumal ball ga chumal a ríist tarsing a rashisteach an a voksach agus College Gilior viach in gaskulig a churp for Aster is sin for collect Havana ach chráid itir fast I the daragaj Shane gachleichisteach Celtic ríist te fiach Henry Cúsin noch leiche mach van a goal gaan het is aan de bal skuldig Ars no fatte leis sin ra min navriskre sin big Caitlin Hayes of Igeri ball vria shit sin Igeri gemacht torte pleiche in me in the park ag Hibs agus Celtic steach an evokse oh a Wellings fashke great ball in the middle of the park there, Pauline, to set things up.
Yeah, it was a fantastic ball out of the back line, and Jacinta, you know, plays on the half turn, attacks the space and plays into Tegan Bowen. It's a great delivery. I don't think they can get numbers in the box quick enough there.
They just cut out the whole midfield in that one ball. Yeah,
they definitely did, and it's interesting to see Jacinta how, you know, last season she kind of played more as a kind of wide forward, but looks like she's relishing that kind of opportunity of playing as part of the midfield.
Sapach dol mi in the park eider de da skippe dras de fiach an smach ein in de wal kan je skippe schach skippe het sinni jan op bulle gaast ach tras a game sonne vi fang smach dat geharis je prisig atte is an nolig sa flinúr agus na cleiche ar an cormstácha cleich gach seachgan mar a bhí get géirí. Jacinta is de túntaigh sa bálasteach sin fiachain amach go or a farke. Gearig isteach an is cormstácha dúr bit a darigid is sin de séda harksach. Dúra seachad i de tíglí agus Celtic in is de cleiche ras chavór gan na tíglí ach go hén at ras is a léach go hén ciú agus cúchim iad sin in istai feing amach as a towl as a roi stócha mian na parke ball a bhrí a suas de chomalasteach tíach agus dói a choricin chaneal shit a cort a grí Richard Boyle heis is Jimbiach nachrá córic Celtic brépás an ainach réitire fa fascéid agus is an Jimbiach ciú gur brépás an a hán. Harks maha go bhí feing a gorum a ballas chud isteach van náisian. Hayes bhuaad a til a bheith sin as a chóisiire nach de chuúpa SWPL í sé idor a bhog sa fiaching sa físcabí sin na taricid is seo. Ballasteach arst go tíra sé Hayes a fan bhal a hub Celtic ciú tíach go sin idor a bhog sa agus me dhéidig ha Boyle go ein ar fallaf clich a bhá siad clich i jólach go tíra for Rachel Boyle as a bhog saich go hén go ein amach schara cwswn iaithge ach rhainio chwystioch yd cwysyn o'ch ymol sochgyd a beth sochgyd efo sinfo Hunter gyda da agos mi gyrig hai sgwyl y bol Suez iddo glachig y cwlw y lein y gian sydd Rachel Boyle, Pauline, there just showing her experience, taking that time in the box to clear after the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. She's a very experienced player and such a key player for Hibernian. I actually prefer her in a kind of midfield role because she's so creative and intelligent. But yeah, like you say, just showing her experience. And I thought Hibs actually defended the corner very well. Alexa Coyle actually sticking to the task because obviously Caitlin Hayes was the target.
Joel Murdoch a sgwylig Suez. Jach yn bal far yr oes I geiri ach a Hibs y gwmol y bals gydjera se Murdoch a ha gaing yr asydd o'r fogsi eich i hyn. Hunter y sio big an cwtio mora. Hai gaing yr falaf Suez. Gw Kavanagh iddo legal. Agus yr eich ydy. Dim biach gyre. Serf reip a han. Chanel tigyn bawi tolig ach. Coha tolig yn yr ahad ydd serve rape illegal is shachat. Art Suez a farke me have a Boyle. Ganoshan. A Coyle. Chud isteach an a vogsach. Chud a chevo. Tuv Hibs yek a you fash gids. Irish rationist on a Lavin Boyle. Ha chud isteach satal isteach go Kavanagh Boyle a ked. Fiach and Roin your lorok as a vox I heen. I gaing a rash, and it's either a fox I heen a half yachandi, putting in a cruach. Ach, I joke at the scoop of it fall off a shit for lay Olivia a chance. Hibs ball is jachach. Hat er een kuslish Celtica. The macher is jaggis in is de chile Boyle is on darna corm with the saddle is jacks got him shin at all torna sharp bit of darika jacharis at the shin drugs to be with Rachel Johnson. Couple of shots from distance so far for Hibs. Pauline, seems to be a tactic to
yeah, definitely. Listen, we know that Colette Kavanagh has that in her locker, and just unfortunately she's maybe just not kind of getting them to on target. But you know what? She's absolutely correct to take the shot on, and you know, so far a very, very even game.
Biada skip a toliche Gurukka show geweldig. Big and Corman the Chruachig Gallagher is just nicht linne. Barton in pink got it. Gach with this jack in a line of who legs a ball tarsing could boil it east it. They've howl the farke See if you Henry. Immer stuur soos 'n varke daar se hoek. Apper ballers. De glachke het cool line Gene shit. Red a less reacher ek you. De glachke het cool line Gene garo. Kusgein je stoch het kientjach. En je kugune kerste versin van 'n less reacher. Ach. Sé kugune ge less reacher ha kunte sé sin keelge. Gewel Celtic erash. Cleiche ball uit de trúre hachgesin as a line goede ju. Shen maha. Me in the park ach like it eerst. Hoe in je kent de eerste de lees reachere upper ball van agus Charlie Wellings like shacha did it darkage. Rachel Boyle shit the fine agus in court the line of cool Hibs. They want the offside there, Pauline, but
they do. I actually thought that she timed her run exceptionally well, but I think, you know, for me, Amy Muir's recovery is so important there, because without that, I think Charlie Wellens probably has a better angle on goal and really would have worked the keeper. So great recovery work by Amy Muir.
And the number of goals she has, you would almost expect Charlie Wellens to hit the target there.
Yeah, you definitely would. Maybe it's been a few weeks now, hasn't it, since they last played? That'll be her excuse.
Na leisgil yn aing ysdiach trast o'ch y gyrysyn yr ydw biar. Bi ffeimydd leisgil o Horrigan ydw sy'n. Kavanagh sydd chanel I hen tolidge, chanel y dot yn cort skip a Hibs tolidge. I think Kavanagh will be using that same excuse, Pauline.
Yeah, Emily Much will not be thanking her for that ball back.
Celtic mahal bref boshan charodat ach gyda ian o gys y bref boshan ein. Beat y doch is toch barach na tiroch y bref boshan ein y machas y merach sin o Kavanagh. Bal y hors dys jach yr ies jach. Turis ile heb sy jano ma gys cwysyn y chlyr y gymach von y lein y chwl. Amy Muir yn isht. As y le ex Celtic. Ced is on roenien. Hai gyda gys jach. Iddo chas jarstach. We should ha Celtic of the Yarriger mach geta and the merach in the me in the park of Hibs at rast. I guess well cast over so is shit for Rachel is on that the horse shachat ball of Ria next vo Rachel Boyle is jach I guess upper savel for Rachel Johnston by skippelt the mach shit the game GV Game of GV skippelt is coil a team to vierchen is a ball with the stach in the target. I guess Pauline will heal from Rachel Johnson at half time, but that's a great clear from her.
Yeah, absolutely. Her timing there to come out is excellent. She stays nice and big, and it's a fantastic opportunity for Hibs and a much better timed run by Alexa Coyle as well. But I think you can see, obviously, unfortunately, both teams had their games cancelled or postponed last weekend, and you can see some just unforced errors happening in this first kind of 15-20 minutes, and hopefully as they grow into the game we'll see this reduce.
Chanel Dyn seach dynne stoch seo yn balag yn leif y cyntiach ach sé brei bosian aha gyfiant Hibs yn ist fa Celtic agus Hibs is mention gyda smal ac ymach y figant Rachel Johnston ach chanil si fein y gorum ball ars dystiach agus Fig Siobhan Hunter is stoch gyri y sin ein y darigad agus sé fyr chiel y knolig y mig iddo fi as y sin Gaifs in brei boshan nach rád is mention big at the flying I guess not a horse maybe I geary it shin a chud even tarikage Chloike ma it is jamach for Celtic shin gopent ma colliery shorts so as an ocean Wellings ach the school so as ball of Vria stachan and foster cool I guess aber corum Pauline, she's got the space, she's got the time, just not the target.
Just not the target, yeah. It's a great initial pattern of play by Celtic there, but the second phase ball out by Sarah Harks is absolutely fantastic, and yeah, like you say, it's just going to maybe take a few more repetitions for Charlie Wellings to find the target. I'm sure all strikers say that, don't they? It's been a long time, I think 5 weeks since they were on the pitch in a competitive game.
Corman Gilioris a game gyda's a ffisro i'r chwysyn gybi na tyl y ffrasig ys Jack Stoche mae sbysyn tisial y sio ag parke yn y Livingston. Chance gagad y mi yn y parke mae ha eisiau gael yr as ag gachwyd yr as gan y lein y chwyl eich Celtic yr eisiau fiach yn rhaid na pasi chi'n gyrraedd a sio na ti fi gasgwylig ars na fata son brisig siachadydd y lein mi yn y parc ag Hibs chanela dy fain y corum sy'n y dyrys ach a cafn ag aing yr as doi o chorigyn so ysgo Wellings yr eisiau i fain glwyn ys y dreim y sydd a mynd afrys fod Joel Moroch ys ha Wellings ydd ffyrwch si ys iddo farge Hibs y cleich haast agus mae ierig reid i'r cydstatydd cwysyn. Agus colos cyw gyfel Charlie Wellings ydy gorstach ag y sio.
I don't think for me there's too much in that there, but obviously she looks in quite a bit of pain and it looks like maybe more awkward than anything else, but it looks like maybe Joel Murray, it's a contact into the glute area, but I'm not quite sure.
Murray perfectly right to make that challenge and every right to get the ball from where she was.
Yeah, definitely. And I think maybe it's just a bit of a unique situation. Charlie Wellings is not a player that goes down, do you know what I mean? So for her to go down, it's obviously something particularly uncomfortable.
Tírach Joel Moroch eisiau dy fiach yn eisiau yn bal y sgwp ag falaf rydw ha ffeis ha i ddian nhw'n na milch yn tyrsen as fe eich Fran Alonso bes yn eisiau cedydd Tírach na ronion a ha gyfieg ha Wellings ha Tírach yr as gyda cas yn eich yn drast a ha i gyfi ti'n ffarch na parc byg an cydioch i agos I fiach yn cyw bec yn rhai I anw. Luke's Pauline at least like should be able to continue.
Yeah, definitely, and I think getting another look at that one there, it's just Joel Murray's momentum, isn't it, that takes us through. There's nothing untoward in the challenge itself.
In game, yr asgydol ma ha. Hibs ga sgil ag ymach fan y lein o chwyl. Wellings hast fart na parke. Ys on big an fyna chyn cyw. Johnston eisiau dy chyn I mach son y bal agos yr eist. Y fiach yn eisiau y bal snasal stoch o chleich agos. Wel ha diano gnoich ach ffys gybi Fran Alonso. Mae'r nachel y cri y dol y gaster mae'r has stoch y ffeimydd. Che ŵr as y lein o ei. Bi y cri y dol y gaster. Eisiau chigli ag ronig pasi chyn mar sy'n y chlach gygach. Chynel sy'n cydstatydd Celtic gyfi togal sŵs y ffarge. Bal ha diolch i'r giarig ymach a sydd mae Gallagher. Ha hyn iddo fi fiach yn cyw sŵs y dyf chli gan y ffarge agos Wellings y ching yr asydd yn ysd y Celtic Chafwr gynnist dy Hunters fa sy'n y ffacol grobig yn cydyn iddo y fal sy'n ach a mŵr y fiach yn ysd bal gy Gallagher le rwy'n ysdiach sgyl ag tarsen gy boel ap yr bal y friaf a sy'n bal y snasol afan snor sy'n cafn a tŵnt ag edor y foxe bu giri big an rŵm y shit chadwyd I rŵm sgytira fa bar y froig o clychyd yr Celtic a sgyl ag yr falafs sy'n y ffacol nach dwydd I corym stoch y tris na ny'n cerwyr bech gysio y chwyd iddi darig y sio i'r lo. Sŵysgw chan ilyn y parc yn ysg agos bal merach ile y tîn fon y cleich yr un Chanel Fran Alonso Toliche leis y ferach sin i tefhal na parc e bys yn y geir un y 3 pingans chadjan ma bal o horst yr asht y skipper mar Hibs mar na chyle 4 chwtja marst Wellings glwys y torn o siar yn eisiau chad o'r styniad heis y sydd gyda chlychyd yr Hibs i'r gwlwg sy'n y ffacal gyda'n idd chafwr o'r y fogse y hwydd Hibs y bal idd y sgil y gyrieist mach gyboel tor gan y chlychyd idd y tydd chiarst gan y ffarge y tîn trop boel Pauline i gran aberhau gyda li stoch yn y siar y mi yn y parc y sgil sganial y sydd agos bal y stiach agos diolch Caitlin Hayes gachwyd y machson breit bosian nice skill here on the edge of the box.
Yeah, it's really good work here by Alexa Coyle. I think she doesn't allow Chloe Warrington to be able to come back and influence, but from there I think she needs to pick out, you know, a cut back for me, pick out one of her teammates to give them an opportunity to at least get a shot off on target.
We see Rachel Boyle here going over to take the corner. She's done a lot so far going forward for Hibs.
She definitely has, and you know, I think she does prefer to play in a midfield position, but from that full-back position she's definitely one that will go and try and join the attack as much as she can.
Ballisteach for Boyle maha ball arse they'd moon take Lee Celtic do it Rachel Johnson so said the hon aisha it a leak alach chanel reachere smention gedacht dat the yano kiarishin Joel Murdoch gang id tuv Chlee agus gachod the erst go Kavanagh nishted tuv Chlee Ballisteach agus shin Joch it a score bug of Hala for Celtic I guess. Now Rachel Johnson has bulloch toliche le mar a high cushion. Warrington it jano mai ka fosta hul gus cushion e chumal ik Njoni Boyle in is des noch anele e fiaching is een bal ars toch de stach Riest idor y Volksevig Tínimach Kavanagh ein as Aper slaich gyda the vals for Rachel Johnston is it vai a Navarez grad dollars jach another great strike from the edge of the box.
Yeah, it was. It's been a really good period of pressure from Hibernian, good deliveries into the box, and they've just failed to get on the end of it. But Colette Kavanagh, as we said earlier, always willing to take on that shot, and very unfortunate, you know, a body a little bit more over it and it probably hits the target and sees Hibernian 1-0 up.
He's a shit mahal like count mach go shorts a ball mach go me in the park I guess each the legal Coyle Geoch legal shorts cushion in the soch grug Irish maha Celtic took all one of who Kuchim id Celtic echo who geta Kavanagh legal machid off na parke Ballisteach Irish I guess it true ha show Celtic echo who had fine Corman Gilliard Cleich ball in the skill of the captain Celtic Craig give the Pifjarst Givesen Stach Irish cha Celtic appreciate there throw Harks reached a cast Kavanagh sarad and if she could start or a Shane if I ball I guess Unike started the center I guess he said illegal break finish the Celtic Higher Jacinta illegal in or Volksevig Pauline. No question there.
No question there. It's an absolutely fantastic ball in by Shane to Jacinta, and yeah, Siobhan Hunter's just caught out. Yep, she has to try and go for it, but I'm sure she'll see that herself. That yeah, there's only one decision there for the referee to make.
Charo achanu corm egereitire leis chugunig a bhesin. Captain Celtic Ida Lama ha Chloe Craig and Thorsten Olach ha Jihan. 3 fichets a hunnetul Gio Geichgische Gerucke shot the Celtic had Coris Dahiet Yam gave Agus in the Savalu upper Savalu a shit for Emily Mudge van bal isteach as an oisian, stochar at big slúdach a chéimig I Chickley. Na lávan eich isteach, well, charás an oisian mar a bha mi dúl stocha. Pauline, she'll be disappointed there.
Yeah, by Craig's standard, it's a very, very poor penalty. But, you know, the goalkeeper still has to save it. And Emily Much will be delighted. 2 games in a row now, she saves a penalty.
Be Emily Much the dóis gyda. Be Siobhan Hunter the dói cydioch éimigi casach cydysdiach ach ha sy'n hast gyn tyl y brip finishing iddo safalwg y ffagal gyda Emily Much beholig bryr le cwysyn mar y hwrs bolin a be stoch y brip finish biar grif ach éimigi y safalwg agus Rainy sin. Sin búna go ball Jacinta ag Wellings a clíic ma. Wellings ga chudisteach. Oh, Jacinta va cora meichgach. Chanaigi díroch a cas I the ball a shid. Agus shid I a chawl le. Wel, she cean Hibs gan y ffarc hyd fi trang gyda cy sio achig liwnia bysyn y cloen chyn fo Rachel Johnston che a hosi hyd fi cloi a nilan lioish agus hyd slia iano si is a Glasgow ha nisht either na push to Celtic agus va a miska squad of a shit a hook cooper in SWPL I she gracal I haast gun fachlin Víneach is díirech mar a bhaid fiaching bhí mar farste squad cho cutramach de Celtic búnach go hiad cúpa gaibsin go gavíil is a déith. Cúcham iríiste Celtic in mian na parke. A harksa Gianno Gamakataka skúlig ar ash. Agus Iríist had the fangin gone my ball the skúlig fo. Tuv gonna tuvile gana farke. Chance shit. Gaing amach go Warrington. Warrington some pretty good airs to see Gianno Shin. Well, Gallagher fang a tuv yard a reach at a KU. Hulutanya. Shaw get Tony Macaroni Arena Keenchuk get a serve rep of on. Ach, Kuguna get each a Hakuntish. It's on a here to this shit hash in a faking Caitlin Hazley. Balla art so as a farke balla fatte. Ach, Kanyelshin a copper guy, Victor. Much maha. Unikiljar eichkische. Kugunig iano ball arst suesku Coyle. Coyle sapparts like Craig the Hunscha Craig. Well, hij is toch de gorste hooker big. En als je kunt staat daar vang is ja if een nerp show suese farke Jacinta. Well, Joel Moroch en Jol de eichkische joche lemes jach ze kunt staat if shit. There's a ball sues. Oh. Rachel Johnson, well, is een kleintje van Rachel Johnson en Cleonia. Gaan viske bij Rachel Johnson toch een kleintje van een Rachel van een manager eigenlijk en Fran Alonso. Het is toch een bloedig in Frenne zag shit dat ze ook ze voor nog nog veel mee. Als je een feit ging shit get ha. Had je Warrington toch zo ze vaak een oorlog ze bieden. Dan ik ding je voor Hibs vast gehad. Ze die is een feit ging. Clychtar in Gian Celtic circular to so as a farke agus a furuch is het shen in is daar vokse leis a val brisig is ja hay lorok groins clychis nasal shit iter de truurachke ha Celtic fang ball is ja agus ik het foste cool bal ching is ja tot Jacinta stoch be in a biar shit akalte Craig maybe better there, Pauline, leaving it for our captain to have the chance.
Yeah, quite possibly. You can definitely feel the pressure really building from Celtic in terms of their possessional play and attacking chances. And I think, you can see that Hibernian want to try and play on the counter, but I think there's situations where, maybe try and keep the ball and get their team a little bit further up the pitch, because it's not quite happening these last kind of couple of counter-attacking chances that they've had, and they just then put themselves back under pressure.
Kuchum Iriashted, Lina Cool, Hibs, agus a ball, fata cwsro ars. Ta sin fiws y dal siachadydd Lian idd cwlwyd na teul. Chro each fasg idd target. What will Dean Gibson be thinking half an hour into the game? As you say, they've not really had that possession.
They've not had that possession. I mean, don't get me wrong, they've had a couple of half-decent chances in terms of delivery into the box, but it's just making sure that they can get, a Hibernian jersey on the end of it and try and get something on target. I think maybe the warning signs for me is we've seen a couple of last-ditch defending moments from Hibernian, and I think that's a worrying sign for me, and they need to really try and remove that from their gameplay. Otherwise, I think it's inevitable that Celtic will take the lead.
Ball scannel sin for Coyle, if I got Gallagher le room as an Oshan Gallagher got chloiches deach ach sé Caitlin Hayes ríis de ha fáin ceann iad a bhall. Gallagher na bottom and pink for us to glór ishe lorach iad a fáce agus ha ishe iad a lícal shit le Sarah Harks. Deach cus cúte mar a seo. Chara cus an ach Huidi Caguna Garated, Rachel Boyle, Ching, Noel, because serve rip a horse, a shock of Ching Ars, this Jack, Ganna Vokes, Celtic. Nice Coyle, Fun of all the Hibs, she Celtic had a scope a good fall of Boyles in this year. The Tevjar Ganna Farki years, yeah, and I shouldn't could start out a ball, Scaniel for the Erstual Murdoch, I see the Vihuas. Ball Ars Deichgische Jacha Caguna least reachere a dol a neu Alexa Coyle a shit Chanel ishe toliche Chanel chase a beat toliche for Hibs either Hughes Chanel Dean Gibson kejera toliche se a Cherry show and a Balogun leave the closing stoche with big chi station Coyle maha fang ball me in the park Turishin, she stoch a pleiche eichgische va cear seach Caguna leis reichere sin a tort corm de Celtic brisig suas a farke Wellings le tá rúne seo as a vokse hai fan corm stad ball a chleich chunna fust a chú sa ríos díroch rút beig rá ars ta deach na corm in a sin. Pauline Wellings doesn't seem to be suffering any after effects.
No, she's definitely not, and you can see it's just very, very small details, isn't it, that's preventing probably Celtic from going one up in this game, whether it's the time to release the ball or it's the angle of the pass or the way to the pass. But I think you will continue to see that become more refined as we go through the minutes.
Celtic ríis to come all of all le Hibs skinne farke chleiche skinne later Shane agus chance Shane fiachan I big an room a lot of gestoch kva aster chud idir target jach Hibs Jano groch the cúte mo chumal orische sin facal ball getaig a corm a shit stoche and big Bowie fiachan I heen stoche idir target jach can you leave fang got him shin. Ball the shach it is well a Coyle could cúte with Caitlin Hayes as a line of hool. Machine faking Caitlin Hayes it is the Coyle could cúte more I guess Perisha hai gascurely no tarsing chun chaanile chance in this to me on the park shorts Lorach Jacinta le ball a bhria seach to Wellings a riist can nearly find stoch a núne. One of these will come, Pauline.
They definitely will. It's another really good moment, and a pick up by Jacinta. The ball through is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, the cover by Hibernian is very, very good there, but Wellings does tend to snatch at it.
Emily much a fall fine of the drast. Bisha Tolich is toch a pick an unie gauw. Schach minutes in unie. A shot on a ballogan lever. Is Hibs get jera nische you be at Tolich. Mavias at Dollarjach ek Njoni haast. Corum Scunyalish in Tiroch run leher. Ek Celtic brep finish ek Chloe Craig. The Savalug le Emily Much. Rachel Boyle in this Warwick. Stoch her Corma Balskulig Suessa Farke. Knella Tuchjum the Hisabiva Huv Hibs Yegas. She's a faculty Wellings has she as a Warrington Camelishka. She is as a notion of Geheen in a Farke. Henry took all the Urilla on Celtic had Chloe Craig should the Fiachan line of Hula Vrosna who ball like Napa Snassala Ishika Aing Eve to Jarskan Farke, I guess. Well, she Jacinta had Norsen Jean either Kulu because ball lying, I guess. Echter you had Gang is Jachan of Oxet. De scope geven vallen weg. Ze kregen hakken aan bij Warwick Shen nach behunter de hoedi. Is Joel Morroch de gelijk zo is gekleed Kavanagh. Kavanagh tjunta is Jack stoche wie na piade tjunta gemacht osne parke ach. Ha heb ze gemal Gallagher's Hunter gelijk zo is ach. We show de wakken je kun je gaan parke ha shorts could start the fusion go. Good hips yet. Gallagher eyeing your askety reist. He Gary Kugunig van Reachedach. Hibs Haslish of all. There's Norsen Coil Gaskulig. Suez a Farke. Haroshanna Nick Grigger. Ked Bulloch. Navadahers. The Kujum Gilliard. Warrington Nick a Hool. Gus Cushion Hiano. Karen. Jake Wacht the Celtic. I guess. I can't make it. Well, I can't make Hibs in the race. Well, Kugunik first. We've seen a few times at the back polling just a little hesitancy from the Celtic backline.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think it comes back to, just not having any form of competitive games across the last sort of four to 5 weeks. But I think you can see from both sides as well. I think at half-time both coaches will be saying, we really need to reduce the amount of unforced errors that we're making because they're giving up good opportunities to their opponents.
Urele, Rachel Boyle, Shisu, Lecheval. Oh. Well, Faminavris got a Daliano. Oh, so here, mach. Ballas, Arste, Schach, Coil of a Honevalas of Oxach. The skill of Mach, I guess. Norsen, Shen of Hanging Corum, Gachus Wellings, Jacinta, me and the Parker, Le Bala, Vria, Root, Big, Faticus, it's on Wellings, I guess, Mura Haka. Aing, Skachlike, Tarsings, Rachel Boyle. Unig Ljorich geschickt, gleiche Suesku, gleich Kavanagh. Ball, Vria Riest, Coil, Fiaching. Ach, Rachel Johnson, Gieroch with Oravox Eiche. Fine ball, Gioch, Hoshoch with gleiche der Hibs. Should be gleiche der Miana Parke, gleich Kavanagh, Hibs, fine ball with Hoshoch with gleiche der Miana Parke, Celtic, I guess. Heinz, Muir, Fiaching, Stoche. A Warwick gave Corum a Warwick gave Rod Leuniach. The Likal Shachat, Hunter, Dioch, a ball of Likal Shachat. Trina Keh the horse in Isht. He's be Dochus Doche. Fitchak Rachel Chleinchin, it's on Leunia. Guess fine a Rash Shach, I guess. Bican Sochgruchu go horse to Kushingi. Craig a chlycalach Irashku shorts. Ihanis Hayes. Charo Hayes in Mia na line húl par a vigi stocha man is trichgach. Is Haynes Rachel Johnson gach like there is line cool Celtic joch Tokal Norsen Jacinta go snasal at Erst go Wellings Shaw stocha Corum a biar Unyeike bal is sturig is jach ga annoshan until Girach roch le Unye Vachin I guess be Charlie Wellings a who the hill to Celtic. Pauline, we said it had to come, and eventually it did. Another great ball through.
Yeah, it's another fantastic ball through by Jacinta, and yeah, we said that, you know, there's a couple of times Charlie Wellings has went for that kind of bottom left-hand corner, and this time she shows a bit of composure. Emily Much might be a little bit disappointed that she can't get a foot to it, but all in all, I think probably well-deserved in terms of the number of chances that Celtic have created so far in this first half, and a really important time to score as well.
You mentioned the time. How does that change the job that each manager has to do at half-time?
Yeah, probably quite significantly, because I think that, you know, Dean Gibson, although Celtic have created more chances, would have been delighted at the penalty save and the fact that they were still on equal terms with Celtic. So yeah, maybe something has to change tactically for them in the second half.
Gus Nassau Hibs Fiaching Ro Leúne Fiaching Coramain I guess Atanaha fine Darna Tul Gine game Davinach Ivarach Guviaking Draw Leúne Muir Fiachenry Coramid Ball Hilagalisteach Hashin I the scoop a good follow I guess Jacinta eyeing a me in the park Nick Krieger finding a ball of follows Boyle Gachutsuesku Kavanagh should ball at Dalmach in the park Groy heen Jimbiach Gajach Chanel Chloe Warrington I should find Kugunige at least Rachel should I guess be heen Tolliche Shin Eiching I see finding a ball it's on Satal Shach Satal Vria Shach go Shen nach a ball at Erst Joch the scope a good follow of Rachel Boyle Celtic find Coromile a ball the school Trod Jacinta Ash go short chance Gamilish Gals Jacinta Rish Gaings Unje Kiljar Eichische it Bialo a line of who like Hibs I guess she merach of a shit for shorts a Haitiano Kiljar Itri Hain I guess Caitlin Hayes because a good Corum stat Hayes there's good Jacinta Maha Captain Celtic it a glachig it cool a line Gian a shit ha Chloe Craig Pauline Celtic aren't sitting back just on the 1 goal lead before half time. No,
they definitely are not, and I think for me, you know, just now the space between the kind of Hibernian back line and the midfield is too big, and players like Jacinta are able to find space in there and get turned, and it's proven to be a kind of a real threat for them, and like you say, maybe we'll see a slight tactical change by Dean Gibson at half time.
Jacinta Maha Riish le Corum Naval Hashin faking should kita Gallagher gachud Suez by Fia Henry Alexa Coyle Lodok Chias America Yach Hatuadi and ball chud gi Shin fakal Geri Shane short Saha Koshach Gadasht I guess the Thursday Union Gus Fitchak Erichire a Chleinchin Chloe Craig le Corum va prep finish eichgische action in the Havelug le Emily Much Girach run leher a shot and a Balogun leve is Jason va Charlie Wellings va Emma Corum in the Vieichke Huidi the ball is sturing me Erik Howl is Jach Ganoshan agus Shinna Fakal ek Leúne a shot and a Balogun leve Gewelshin ek Hibernian and Johnny Celtic a hun
Wel, siarad am haiderig I chiad leis on the balling yn leifin agos bysyn I ddastif ys ei casiol na hwrach leis y darn o leif. So nes chyn y nadau siacyn ag leach unio sy'n dol chlein ti fwy niach glei Celtic sy'n miorach ag ei dyrys efo gmaint i'r eich nôr y fegi siwla ilan lewas gyda tirmwr yr son tren ag mysta chyrru piawn di peper ar cwnant profession. Siac efo nest, Rachel Johnston.
Chai Rachel Johnson a hokal I ddilyn liws. Astor môr fo far a veli a diw, a clicht o bod ni Celtic an a glosachw.
It was amazing, to be honest. It's just a completely different upbringing than it would be if I was still living in the city. It's a very close community, everyone knows each other. I have a really good family there as well. Lots of space to be doing a lot of football in my garden. Yeah, it's just really nice living on an island and being brought up on an island as well.
Hanneke hui Rachel an the ball kosher tras a skull.
Around primary school, P5, I was always quite sporty, but I wanted to have like a specific sport that I liked. So I would just join in with the boys at lunchtime and I would have a kick about then. I wasn't that good at that point, so it was just about kind of keeping on going and getting better. And then around P7, I kind of thought, I actually really, really like this. And then that's when I kind of made it a dream to like do it as a career maybe. There was only 1 or 2 girls in the school I was at that played football, so I didn't know that there was many like female players on the island. At that point it was just the Stornoway Primary, just the school team, and then I joined Stornoway Athletic where I then became a goalkeeper because I was an outfielder before that. And then not long after signing for Aths, I got a message from Ewan McLeod who asked me to come along to the Lewis and Irish women's training. Started training with them for a wee while, and then Ewan got me lots of opportunities down on the mainland doing trials, training with teams like Hibernian, where that then went into Celtic and Scotland camps and everything.
Nu de haasig driach Rachel a golfoniars gwyniarst. Waar zijn kielig grot de leestenis na smoe ore, agus a geolog an vi a shul go gemichin agus trainig.
It's a big financial commitment as well, because it's obviously expensive to keep travelling up and down, but it's definitely a commitment worth doing. There was a lot of sacrifices made from myself and my family, especially from my mum, which I'm very grateful for. She spent a lot of weekends driving me down to football, so it is a big commitment, but I'm very appreciative for my family and how big a role they were playing in that. So straight after school on a Friday, we would get the plane down to Glasgow, pick up a hire car, go to training Friday night, then we'd be staying in a hotel. Saturday I'd be training with the first team, and then we'd have a game on the Sunday, and then fly back at 7 a.m. on Monday, and then Mum would drive me back down to school, which is about an hour-long journey because I went to school in Harris but lived in Lewis. A lot of homework was done while travelling. I was studying my National 5s and my hires, so it was extremely difficult to get the grades that I wanted, but my teachers were really supportive, and they understood that football was a big thing for me, and they didn't want school to come in the way of that in a way, but they did a lot to make sure that I did school and football. But yeah, balancing football and school was a big thing, but I managed to make it work.
Ag court Blungia, who'd Rachel Poundy Pepper call additional Luchach Celtic.
I'd just come back from a Scotland 16s trip away to the Netherlands, and Celtic they were looking for players for their national performance team, and at that point Ewan was trying to get me in with a proper mainland team. So we got in contact, and straight away the coach at the under-19s, who was Edward Gallagher, he got in touch and said, "Do you want to come down for a trial?" Came down, and then one session and I was signed. So that's when it became like the weekends travelling down. That's when it all became a lot. Yeah, just as soon as I signed for Celtic, that's when it all came a lot.
Glúis Rachel a Glasgow sy'n tafing da bílas fichet. Rydw gan about dadafgi yn dosach,
a gewoon gewillig tjouwlig uren lorken is, like koken uit jouw kolklichteren, a budach kalach.
Yeah, it was scary. Definitely, I mean, moving away at 16 from your family, going from the island to the city, it's pretty scary, but I think one of the best decisions I've ever made, because it's opened up so many more opportunities for me, and it's definitely made me a better footballer, but it was definitely a daunting move at first. Just getting used to the city life, like at home you'd be able to go out for a walk at midnight and you wouldn't think anything about it, but here it's like you need to be careful where you're going just because it's a completely different atmosphere. We all have a really good relationship in the flat. I've definitely created like a family there, gotten close to quite a few of the girls, so yeah, it's good just to be living with a bunch of footballers. We're all on the same path. We all want the same ambitions, so it's really good. I mean, I'm the youngest in the flat. There's like a 26-year-old, 20-year-old, so there's quite a big variety of ages. So it's kind of just you do your own thing within the flat because everyone's obviously got their own ways of doing stuff, but it's just a very different. I don't really know how to say it, like diversity in the flat.
Ha ada Rachel a tosh immerich it ada we dachi na leeuws. A shelton she ha a dachi kiel gegi, a gavili a giundrang leeuws gemoor.
I miss home, but I think I definitely miss my family more than anything. Just being around them, the energy they give me, I'm just very grateful for them, so I think I miss them more. But yeah, I do miss home quite a lot, but it's nice to have these Christmas breaks and the occasional times where I do get to go home, and it's a nice refresh. But yeah, I miss home a lot.
Ha Rachel is carlia ein gebien a shergi a lentang already furlum. Agus a planich nache nache, men a hoprich a driach, bal kosche amach.
I did want to go into sports science a wee while ago. I got into the University of Glasgow, but I deferred it so that I could focus on football. But I'm looking into business at the moment because I quite want to open my own coffee shop. But yeah, hopefully I can go down that route at one point. But yeah, I do want to keep up my studies soon.
Ach an draste gejera ha ada Rachel is a driach cliche.
I didn't expect to sign my professional contract so early in my career, but it was definitely a huge achievement. A very proud moment for myself and my family. So yeah, it was a very good moment for me. I want to be number one. That's my first goal here. But like you said, I want to make a name for myself here. It's a big club to be a part of, so I just want to embed my name in the club and just make more appearances, win more trophies. I just want to do so much more at this club.
Sandulach han ek amas Rachel Kupu, nu de hockey heet goer se driach professionte. A boenige koers jedenach, Cooper League.
Yeah, it was an incredible day. I'm speechless, to be honest. Whenever I think about it, I just get butterflies thinking about it. Yeah, to play in a cup final and to win it, and especially against Glasgow City, I think it was just a surreal moment. We only find out the day before who plays, so there's never a guarantee. It doesn't matter if you play the semis or the quarters, you never know who's going to be playing the final. So when I saw my name on the team sheet, I just had a big smile across my face, phoned my mum, phoned my parents, and I was just shell-shocked, to be honest. I couldn't quite believe it, but at the same time I was ready for it. I felt ready, so it was an exciting moment. Yeah, my mum came down for the semi-final and surprised me against Hibs, which was really nice, and then she came down as well for the final, which made the moment more special. So yeah, it was nice to have her there.
De ganjen scho immerkingig se vai run again. Ringen chigile ook makadidu. Na klicht er een hele kutchug. Is hij va adi in de game wunje.
Just nerves. I was so nervous. I spent the morning just being at coffee shops with my mum, just hanging out with my mum, trying to forget about things. But I was just extremely nervous. But those nerves didn't carry on throughout the day. As soon as I was in the change room, as soon as I was on the pitch, I was fully focused and the nerves were away. We're definitely a confident side. We analysed Glasgow City, we analysed ourselves, we knew what we needed to do to get the win, and everyone was just full of belief. Everyone wanted to win. and we've just got such a good team spirit. I think that really drove us on to win. I think that's the best I've ever seen the side play.
As siw i cwchba lig a hocal, biach a hwla sian ha Rachel agus a jewlach iddi gianw.
I see it as a reward, but I also see it as the first step. I hopefully there's more rewards to come, and I think this is just the first sign of success in a way that it is worth it. But it's definitely not. It's not the only reward I see from it. They were just happy for me. They were extremely proud, but they definitely saw it as a reward as well.
Ha prás ag Rachel am sna tríoin ilinga chaiche, agus ai tolite a bhínas ar exemplar do chláníon as na hilingen a ha son na lorachan aiche lenting.
Yeah, I'm really proud to say that I'm from the Isle of Lewis, and hopefully I can be a role model for younger footballers on the island. But when I went home for Christmas, there was a few young girls that I was training with, and it was great to train with them and just be that role model. There was a few girls that came down for a few trials with Rangers, and we got them along to the Celtic training where they trained with the first team. So it was good for them to experience that, and just being a role model, I think it fills me with a bit of pride as well. When I said to my mum, look, I want to be a professional footballer, she straight away was like, Rachel, don't be ridiculous. But I think that was just a bit of motivation for me. But I think now that there is a pathway and there's a clear pathway, I think that'll drive younger footballers on to just go and work as hard as they can to achieve it.
Get a hai gíide katáisge gomach sa himmertbal cosche, a Amazon móra aiche on na blínach in the hiig.
I would love to be in the Scotland national team, be in the A squad. That I think that's my biggest achievement. But I would love to maybe go abroad, play in England. Just want to experience something other than Celtic. But like I said, I think I want to establish myself at Celtic. I want to be in the A squad. Those are my top two goals at the moment.
Rachel Johnston sin I ruchgachuch Ilan Lewis I ruchgachuch stocha Stornoway Saltire Club Kuchoch agus a fisca vel go leoras na Hilan in Kumal Sul Orisha. Pauline, we've seen there Rachel Johnston, just the effort she's made to get to this level.
Yeah, it's a fantastic journey, and it's really nice to hear about it and let her tell her story. But I think, one of the things for me is Rachel's so appreciative of, the sacrifices that the people around her have made to help her get to where she is. But she's also extremely humble, and it really takes advantage of every opportunity she has to develop and get better. And she's, she speaks about being a role model to young girls or young footballers, but she's a role model to young girls in general, not just on the island, but here on the mainland also.
Shane, seo ag Balogan Leva, Hibs Tull I Dierig, Tull Levan, Charlie Wellings, Animach is a Headley. We see the goal here, Pauline, that splits the teams at the moment. Great ball through, and as we said, eventually Charlie Wellings got one in that far corner.
Yeah, it's a fantastic goal. I think, if you look at it from a Hibernian perspective, it's probably disappointing. It's two balls that cut them right open from back to front, but great play by Jacinta in that 1v1 duel in the middle of the pitch, and then great composure by Charlie Wellings to take her team 1-0 up. Now,
the teams have been in for half time. What will Dean Gibson have said to try and change things?
I think for me, he needs to look at how Shen and Jacinta are able to pick up space and get onto the ball and get turned, because once they get turned, it's very, very difficult for the Hibernian backline to defend. So I think maybe trying to put a 1 or a 2 in front of that backline and maybe change the formation. I'm not sure. I also thought that maybe they might look at trying to bring, Michaela McAloney into the game and maybe push Colette Kavanagh 1 up. But as it looks just now, I think it's the same starting 11 as we've seen it in the first half.
And from a Celtic point of view, Fran Alonso, I'm sure, will be happy to have got that goal, but he would want more in the second half.
Yeah, he'll be delighted to have went in 1-0 up at half time, because they did have a number of very, very good chances, and as we spoke about, it was just coming down to fine detail and maybe just not being up to speed in terms of match practice. But I think he'll be very happy. I thought Celtic played with real good intensity. They moved the ball quickly. They had a good understanding of what they were trying to achieve, and I think probably just trying to tidy up in their final third play will be their focus this second half.
You mentioned Jacinta and Shen, the way that they've been playing. Just what does that bring to the Celtic team?
I think you can just see that there's a real understanding and where they want to play, and the other players need to be really, really disciplined so as to allow those spaces to be available to get such talented and creative players on the ball. But you know, you can see when they do, both of them play very well on the half turn, and that's not something that's easy to do. And the majority of the time when they do pick up the ball, they go forward as well, and it's so refreshing to see.
Na skipping amach a fiaching cyúr I bhí cymal bla a seo an y balwg yn lefe chapé, wel sé eiche han yn ysg bla a han idir y dyrwch ydy sydd chyn agos ha cwysyn gyma fwyr y seo y mian y dwche han y skipping ydd chyn amach fo na siomrich yn jesach I gyda yn reityr y Craig Wilson y gianw jesal cwtioch gys cwysyn y chwr y doi y son y darn y le agus has sin teach a fiú if na coachí hin sa luch coachí me dhéirigh ting an nóil chun na tuimhsa gan na farke agus bí sin tiisial gus táise I ríist Hibs féimach id cyú til bí atan na géirí badach na sin na sa darna le fiach na trípain gnaing Celtic lávan uach gur a drasta sin leoch slia isteach id cúsin ach óper rían ó hásta sa le a darna le gan y game aha seo a darna le aha táisiú le Alexa Coyle Eirefáil I mian na parke agus a réitir Craig Wilson gar cwr gydol a ríist. Ball ar suas agus suahug far iawn clwy Craig a shit agus sin a facal gyfel Hibs as a sport suas idd or y fwgse ag Celtic. Muir mahal eisiau sadal ysdiach. Mae'n nearly fain cws corym dad I ian o leisiach. Ha Hibs chos union a sian achgach. Had y fain y bal i'r or y fwgse. Fiach yn rydw Giano cws leis stoch o cyta. Agus eisiau y ffacol corym ag Jacintas Shen brisig. Suas a farke da chlychydr cwdrymach the Celtic as a darna le ha seo. Y da skipper chanel arach ag sybi iddi fi iawn gyrwch y sioc y yw von y manager yn. Celtic man y fadas I hiedlu gael yn gorym togal von y chwf. Sy'n feiking a shit Jacintas Rachel Boyle da chlychydr ioloch Boyle jym diach grawn eichge se fa sadal ysdiach a the Celtic a ha gaing ag sy'n ffacol grawn ec Chloe Warrington a fawr ga sadal ysdiach bec ant y strata gyda'r Boyles Jacinta shit ysdi chwgwnig von y reityr agus a díseach go bhain órach van in jachlug agus gí sé gaibh a bhí stat a ghéanú in sin. Is satal isteach ma ham írig hála Warrington agus beid Jacinta ha fain suha géadach Boyle le satal isteach a ríist. First unig go leor. Ach, gus satal agus be Celtic a ha gabona hu ar as. Balla, wel, balla snasal stoch ach balla ha tuchtjum de Hibs en shit as a leine chwil. Balla buchgal ma goorstje mee aan de park is. Maar de connection is hier te gaan je skippen schak skippen. Grey maing de wals joch san vika gumal Celtic nu de haat geeing had de san prishik soos a park geskippelte ges kutje mo goed het leine chwil Hibs agus. Hibs at heen had de 4-3. Prishik soos had voor oorlog ek gevoel. Dus maar sin stoch in de korm in de jaren hele biachtes en zal neder Prishik. Ja van de imig prep oshan hele wie Rachel Boyle se lea sho se hier play kamalishka. Boyle mahak, a score up soos a farke. Alexa Coyle a hak, a sturig soos a farke. Warrington agus Harks a could Kuchum a shit. Eve a Clayederik Hibs Collect Kavanagh High Shias the Gorstach. A solid challenge there, Pauline.
Yeah, I don't think there's any malice in it. I think both players have the absolute right to go for it, and I think maybe it's just Colette Kavanagh. She steps into it. It's her that makes contact with Harks. But yeah, listen, that's what we like to see. It's part and parcel of the game.
Yeah, it's one way to get warmed up as they've come back out from half time. Boyle Maha le Corum Ballars toch het is Jack. Ach, ik kaskelig Harsing gu Hunter soos of Arkach. Sinne de scope get fall of. Is het is Jacinta ka Ishe notion ga studio max says. Well, Tegan Perry ba wolle for the shin I guess big collect Kavanagh good lava no good. Kavanagh hy hens rage de ku de wel macher gele. Ach, hoe die ku rage shin. Die is by Rachel Boyle ha gehorst goed go Joel Murray captain Hibs Jolas voorrecht gesje. De shinne yeast toch is had het hierige is. Vier Henry daai eindig jach. Ganne game show het eerst. Celtic het haar college had het hoshach. Joch began aster a horsebach het kuisen has een faking Caitlin Hayes gematrich joch le kasse de val. Keitman Gorst fiach Jane Corman a hachke tok al van a goal. Is bishit rieste had de Giano Siobhan Hunter shit. Gewas nas al staat de val art wat ching het hoshach for Celtic ach. Either for the macha Chloe Craig and this give you fine. Corm well hy legal shach the got him. A ball hilligal shach. Aha ching is shach and this jigus. Ashin faking Celtic in me in the park le barach goonjach na hele week Hibs Grike Shawach sin faking it is wel Kavanagh if brishig so is I guess Clique maar is daar gelijk er wel Hibs zit de bol stachere gele wat Clique er Celtic vastgorach Jacinta zit vier en die bal is nas al voor de first wie zeg je getugi bal shachet getag is high Giano Hula the ball shin ein erash Warrington ka could go by like Kean Warrington it is tag is she fine puchtig the shores of hurricane for Alexa Coyle I shin je legal shachet kuchim sebi avec Hibs 8th line who Celtic had fall of I guess Elena Hula has shin the fine Corm a ball the school soos of hake Darna le mar ha has in it Siobhan Hunter the faking eiking vika makama trange shit the jarre gemacht na buil fatte for Celtic drut nach der reinat kusse sich hier leist auch a kreare hu shin rein Fran Alonso as a Leunion Sonorache eveke Fisker og Ruttigen ikke I dag kan ju med palches kormen vakke ach nach de gavat. Kavanagh Pauline this second half she's come out full of determination definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that she lacks. But you know, for me, I do think they need to get her on the ball more. I think that every time she gets on the ball, she wants to do something. She wants to make a positive action for her team, and I think that she's a real threat in the Celtic defensive side. But for me, maybe just they don't find her often enough.
Cliche snasal a shit shen like tune like Ria Gachudunul go Jacinta ach notion ball and Yerig Dol Kiarach Tegan Bowie like Cliche Mai Geheen Jacinta like Coram Bowl for the Jack Charlie Wellings hey Fiach and Kiyu stat the Kurid Dol Machid Can the Park hi Giano Shin Tegan Bowie initially like Coram as Noshan Fiach Henry Rutigan the Grohug Higa for the Jack agus an ball tíoch I scoop agus deach inis le Olivia chanceach cha be chance ra a bheit sin ceammal leiscail is an fiala ga. Emily Much mahal le corm ball chud art. Emily Much a havel a brip finish of a sin as he hiad leifá Chloe Craig le tíoch lehir a gloch gach char a corm cús corm stoch eich ge ciú I the turl with Charlie Wellings tíoch broch le úne ach stoch go bachorgi no go bigi giari go bigi cas ein I the ball shit ach is deach an nosan a chaim ball agus sinna facail Celtic til le hoisach. Shorts as Coyle is sin is apat Coyle chaneli toliches I brepa geval follows sin it orach no guy ging on reach a show mar ha du is ishe fine orach me if he come out in the Cugunian. Hibs just seem to be getting on the wrong side of the ref in the last 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, they do. They look to be getting a little bit frustrated, but you know, I do think that they've started the second half well in terms of their intensity and intent, and you know, they have to do this if they want to try and get themselves back into the game.
Ball a shit Kavanagh could start at Warrington vi dal soas a farke as in a faking Leishman agus Kavanagh gematriche stachit kuchen id nor sin gan a farke Tegan Bowie fang a ball in a farke gaskulig shachat chune captain eiche ach be Gallagher a ha fang a ball agus gaskulig a nor sin a stach ball a vria a shin agus sin an corm a bheit cór a bhí ag Hibs. Shannon nicht grigger ting isteach could cúte with Rachel Johnston. Had Johnston had fiddle she has great ball in Pauline and just couldn't get a toe in the end of it.
Yeah, it's a fantastic delivery there by Amy Gallagher, and it's a good run by Shannon McGregor as well, but she just can't get that first touch, and obviously the opportunity goes a begging.
Bedin Gibson the dochas ge gavat na corman shin mahat give ching isteach an game a show as a darna lee. Celtic had heen a lot of na cormans. Well, heb sin vat geriach go brich kuchen Tegan Bowie fang of all mach if to chlie varke the Celtic ball isteach agus ochra dinne linie dorche uanje Celtic shit the gag and corma va shit is val agus Hibs a fang a cormca skill ag fall of cool like a coil riist. Coil ga chud rash go muur. Ishe rash isteach riist the nicht cricket. Hibs Clis Celtic gal gonum ball chlich go line a cool. Boyles Norsin ga skill ag soas a farke ha Amy Gallagher, Khaled Kavanagh reached. I hains Chloe Warrington. Well, I don't think if he tachers na raji she shin chin call in a val. Satalis Jack for Warrington. Ishe fang Wellings a fakal. Joel Murroch the Tonya shit. Pantrich gehakres a lead shin. Neither team yet just getting any possession and time on the ball really.
No, and I think that's maybe a little bit due to the intensity that Hibs have come out. They've come out with purpose. I think they're pressing a little bit higher and pressing better collectively. So being able to maybe break up more of Celtic's possessional play than they did in the first half.
Warrington Maha Udele Gal Corum Chita Lena Hul Celtic Diano a Badaleiche Mirik Ha Short say the Badalshina Uguna is Warrington fine Kushna Ashkatolarish Kitlan Hayes for Uoloch Ach Chronoloch Shinna Shelting Kavanagh Kata Higher illegal shit Lashen Next being an avarice Gordoch could you get karst ach Atanik shin. No question here for the ref.
No, definitely not. And again, it just comes from Colette Kavanagh's positivity and purpose. She wants to go forward, and she draws the foul there for her team. And, you know, it gives Hibs a good opportunity, because we've seen so far, you know, some really good delivery from Rachel Boyle.
Karst Fuye ishid do Warrington agus sinna fácal. Darna Karst Fuye gonna game Hunter with Karst Fuye son vi likal shacha de brip finish. Rachel Boyle maha Coramila Eikische vi fiachan is balla chud isteach gan evoke say Rachel Johnston balla arst isteach gan fos de chool hat er ein Celtic dat leisje vi vi gaing at falla agus sinne shores a Coram ha corach vi gal. Wonderful chance there for Hibs.
Yeah, it was. It's a fantastic delivery in behind the Celtic back line, and for me it just needs a Hibernian player to really go and attack that, because it's in such a dangerous area.
Just shows the danger as well. When they let the ball bounce, you've no idea where it's going to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Celtic maha fo pick an olach Toshach a darna lei hashin in Hibs eiching lena Corman Guruk seo as a darna lei ha seo ach Ries chat fiachan is a ball ars the scope agad falav I guess Ries be Colette Kavanagh miss cushion. Well Haniel Olivia chance toliche le Marva Kavanagh fiachan is a ball a good shach. Celtic could go mal ball agus come on Coram ruttig in the chruach out. Gach like it ash in Norston for Hayes fiachan Earp Erst Ishik gach like is Jack Jacinta Norston fiachan ball is Jack Boyle Roy Farskilio Redach Jacinta mar connection na per high is a game maar hy like al shach at the ball hy gaie rash as a spot ach it have hall of harke as in faking. Well, big into Chlis for Chloe Craig Stocher. Lanny's Eichkische. Everyone knew that was a Hibs ball, but it's worth a chance.
Absolutely. Why not try?
Hibs maha. Ma yiri gefeing of all of a corach of gefeing. I guess a gal Goram ha. Emily Much. Gaskirlik Rachel Boyle. Rashas noshin ekeheen. Mara Pauline Krahi Stocher. Na siar agus na siolaige vi dollar earth for vi an the parke. Jin faking Fran Alonso should Collis Gilla Doliano Aragus Bartle Jody Bartle give chinid hishin go hik fartna parke jilchane big an vinachin. Jin faking a list reach the general jisha evort lena solish nach a drastic you ha he's the ball that Asha Salia heen. Maar Reini we can pick an vinachin Ray there stagus upper ball of Ria the Warrington shin hiking Boyle it should like the loon I play hit there in Celtic is mentioned kre pass it Ashkan a chick leave I should ach hapish it Evaun shin hiking ball at Ash experience from Rachel Boyle there. So it's a farke nish for Muir Gallagher le Coramach at the rainy coast lace a famous Rachel Johnston Chinyamach is a ball of score but get fall off a Colachgal Macaloni Kavi Chinyid Marava Pauline Craig Leunia Stohanara who Yenagishi cushion sa well ha Colette Kavanagh Likal Shachat Bray Boshan Da Ara who chin ga Celtic has in faking Tegan Bowie a change Fartna Parke agus a change ha Jody Bartle I guess it's on Hibs has in faking Macaloni a change 8th Michaela Macaloni change 8th I guess shin 8th son Shannon Leishman Pauline, what will those changes mean to the game?
I think for me, Jodie Bartle's been brought on there to bring more physicality and to try and maybe nullify the kind of the good work that Colette Kavanagh is doing for Hibernian. Much more physical presence than Tegan Bowie, and then maybe Michaela McAloney, we spoke about it earlier. Shannon Leishman, maybe not as natural an attacking player as Michaela, and Michaela obviously Hibs will be trying to get her minutes in terms of her return to play since injury.
Bartels sa spot le chorm ball a chudisteach an a bogsach. Ha i gari a rashas ha sinnid chorm a horst a Hibs brisig suas a farke ha sin feiking well ha Gallagher a shit the ligal mi in the parke be cloicheter in Celtic stoch a Tolichik a jach sin ligal shachat. Crua a riescha Kavanagh agus Bartle a shit the búl agus shachar a chéile agus sé bachtal a sin a fis a Lennis is on the big and vintage in Raheen. Joel Murdoch maha balla art suas go Rachel Boyle ball a scanial a sin agus he fanging ball chorm a ball chud a steach agus ag a fust a húl chorm scanial a shit as a spot. Pauline, that's what you've been saying with Rachel Boyle. She just loves to get forward and create those chances.
Yeah, she does. It's a fantastic pick out by Joelle Murray there and a great run by Rachel Boyle. And I think, for me, probably she's looking for, maybe to somebody to try and, I think a cutback might have been a better option. I think the ball in is quite difficult to get someone on. It's a very, very tight angle at that back post there, but a positive moment from Hibernian.
Hibs le cheval le riest an a le Celtic ganna farke ashke muur agus at dit na chorm in a biarach as a game ein as a darna leha a seo Murdoch riest ga skil gemach go Boyle le cheval art soes agus Hilton Hazak ein a fall of le ceannach nearly ga ein achgo Kavanagh balla scanial steach vo muur Rachel Johnston i Gianno Gilliorcus a Savalig agus a ball ar as isteach a riest a dul siún a farc. Muir with the shot there, but a relatively simple save from
Yeah, it was relatively simple. It's a great switch of play by Colette Kavanagh, and for me I think Amy Muir has to go for the far side of the goal. I think that's comfortable for Rachel Johnson, like you said, but positive, good to see Hibs still trying to make an impact and get themselves back in this game.
We've seen Rachel Boyle be so involved. Did they need to get her further up the park?
Yeah, I think they absolutely do from what we've seen, and we've seen it in the first half as well, didn't we? When she joins the attack, they get more numbers forward, and she's just such an intelligent and creative player.
Celtic maha le cheval like a whole Rachel Johnston agus Caitlin Hayes ga chleicheichtere Hayes le ball art so is fiachan i Wellings a lorach ach chadoriach chleicheitar Hibs agus Hibs I tinga there de riest tro Gallagher Fran Alonso agus skip a coach eke fiachan is na chleicheitar an vrosnach a bhí na sáste so is a farca hula che as a game a seo ach a bhain Emily Much and a Lee Celtic a drasting a sin tíoch a shouting a cutchim a head a skip a Pauline, we see every player bar the Hibs goalie in the Celtic half at the moment, just the change in the pressure.
Yeah, I think changing the pressure, changing mentality as well, isn't it? And it's definitely paid dividends because Celtic have just not had the same fluency to their attacking play and their possession.
Bartels Kavanagh sin puchta cach a chéile hí sin mar a linne sin hart na pick an vinach in Raheen. Boyle leis is satal isteach go Gallagher Ishi ga chalca tás well Hibs a fangin coromítar Kavanagh agus Boyle sin so sa farceach cogúna go réitir a tuiri sin in Dolanau Colette Kavanagh, Rachel Boyle Stocha sin jola seich go sé féimi fang ar as mar sin tógal a bhals gal pick an chicken gus pick an úne a horst gí héin Warrington go bhí ga gal Chanel pas simply eichge draste. Sarah Harks chin courage. Ach an ocean heisha follows Caitlin Hayes ga score up Ars suas a farke. Rachel Boyle geta fan of all agus Judy go follow like Keln. Kagunig shit dol le Celtic Bartle agus Kavanagh Stees and Avals Colloch Cayu Getanica Fat Collect Kavanagh. Bartle shit ood gonna games. John O'Merach shit the torch ball to Gallagher fiach ni ball go de stjach. Ach gaming gavi torna sashke noshan is on Corum a horse de Shannon nicht cricket. Dat igiano leshin Tor Celtic adrast Chin Tro Caitlin Hayes. Ach a ball shin tiro gedolte Chickley Hibs. Ach much if I got him tuned like Shinavach was snass out the Celtic as he headly agus haha Cayu with Kujamahumal if cushion as a darnally like Kavanagh Riish Jamish cushion agus Jacinta in the legal. Another fairly easy one for the referee.
Yeah, we can't say it's not been a competitive outing this afternoon.
Celtic haven't had many set pieces. This will be the kind of opportunity that Fran Alonso will want them to take with the pressure they've been under.
They've definitely not since probably the early phases of the first half and the corners that they had, which Hibernian I felt actually defended really well and will need to continue to do so to keep themselves in the game.
Ball Ars de Stjach Maha Ganefos de Chool Ciawn Eddach Rachel Boyle as an Oshan Gaing a follow Kavanagh and then Shin Ra Torres Nipik and Vinach and Miyiri Ach an ball Shin the scope a good follow play Warrington Ball Ood Rachel Boyle at Durisse Kainig Jehan Bican Hachgan in Chiao Wagan Avias ha Rangers in the Glasgow City Giviaking Bio Ith BBC Alapa Games Dohe Yeres Farajage Chichtel Iliga Bliana Chanelach Dafing Gitter Niskipi in a Kumuloch League Le Marachai Kushni Juagus Namfai Sel Gabrielish Glasgow City the Pringin Big Achin Prishal Corum a shit that Shen Prishig Trea Ach Emily Much Mach Lua go orvok seige gestat chudeid economy vashit agus Cayu as a darnally ha cushion of car soccer and line a Celtic Gricka shock you Celtic next chin there Shen as Jacinta Copper Call Ogirish had the Fiachin Shin Tor as a game ha shot ball Crui is Jacha Drill Moroch a shit gus static with it agus Rainy Mashin score up again follow Kavanagh it is it or the boxe the Ortna Park Gamalishgal score up a good ball far clichet their Celtics Shin Fakal Kiri Boyle Hakal Sata was Jach Boyle is shit Kataka Horshachat go shorts agus ball at earth for Warrington go Shane a brisig is Jach and Voxe and now Boyle hay fine Corum but could Ere Darike Jach va Cass Boyle has the Sarad I guess Bartle in Ishka could arse this Jach and Voxe I guess the Turisha by Hunter who would ball at fall off the count. A good spell of pressure here for Celtic, Pauline. Yeah, it definitely has been, and I just think that, you know, in the last 3 or 4 minutes, I think Jacinta's been able to start finding those spaces again that she did in the first half, and she creates so much havoc for that Hibernian backline. Havoc a Chin Stocha is a line of Hul, Lish, a Vrepashan, a Chin is Jach. Wow, Brep, through a shit. Hatanik a fuse is Jach in the park, I guess. Corman to be a hachke female and gal I guess well hasn't faking Sarah Harks a shit Girochka good Giroch it cool a line of cool one of very passion Mure shit the tuchtje agus ha i'r ffyrwch sias ach y bal hastig Hibs Jacinta and Duris y gyda tiwntag Hafang y bal yr erst Warrington it hosio chore Hape eisiau ach Shen na hafang y bal yr erst Wel, Jay ha Emily much Jan o'r sin chai siachad yr efallach Reini gilior chilig agus cwysyn y chwr y doi yr eist Double change coming up here, Pauline, from Celtic. They've got Larissie and Olive Stotter Gross ready at the edge of the box to come on. How do you think that'll change things?
Both obviously two naturally attacking players, so it'll be interesting to see who they take out. Obviously we've already had Jodie Bartle enter the game, so I'm not quite sure, you know, which areas they're going to kind of come on because I think Jacinta has been very, very good, so I can't see her being taken out. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Fran comes up with in this next moment or two.
Big plan a chorig in Eka Hafis Celtic in Ishichinga there throw Charlie Wellings.
I think what it does say is he's obviously slightly frustrated that they're not further ahead in this game.
Celtic Cumul Val stoch Kiet Corma hyd y fiachga Diolch bigan Unia Gal Caitlin Hayes Rhys gachlech yr erst Rhys Muir ga Yarrig amach Sy'n y ffacal gyda Satal ysdiach of his own though captain Celtic Chloe Craig at Tif Halna Parke and Bialwe Luch Teich ga hacking Shaw and a Balogun Leve Bal ysdiach a diolch dol Irash ymach yr eist shorts fang yn darn y corym van Jera Archer Corym yr eist ysyn Nick Harks brisig y dyrst ach yn bal Femach ydd Ching Irash gw Caitlin Hayes Fiach Rwydig yn y chrwachwg Eisiau gyma mesal iddo y bal y arst Syd Dahyrus ysyn hacloich ydr yn Celtic y stats ys mewn i'ch gael Rwydig yn eidd y gol ciar Siobhan Hunter y bwlwg an y sien sy'n orsyn y cas arst ys diachyd Chloe Craig.
She's very, very lucky. She was late there, Siobhan Hunter, and just needs to try and calm down a little bit erratic in that last challenge.
Nahara hi yn hysyn y feikin Chloe Warrington y chain fart na parke. Hysyn y ffacal. Gyda Larissa y chainydd agus yn orsyn cwtioch ha Shen Mengu y chain fart y farc agus Maria Olofsdatter Gross y chainydd cwtioch da chloich ydr y chainydd chloich ydr y mian y parc agus chloich ydr Gian a ha chain fart na parke ys marsyn mar y hwrst Pauline Fran Alonso ha ffys y gyri barach hyw y sio an y Balogun Leve agus at tylydd hosioch i'r Hibs ach cormyn i'r ddiach fi ffat y farach na diolch yn y hyl i'r hosioch corm ag Celtic has gyda Sir Frip aing had Jehan stoch y jich slat tyfu mi y fwgse bal arst y chingisdiach Gw Warrington ha tŵch i mynwrs yn dy Caitlin Hayes hwch i gleich yr Giannic Hibs agus chra unir eichge that the Yano Mien. Just no time there, Pauline, to react to the ball.
No, absolutely not. But just like you say, you know, you just don't want to be giving away set plays in those sort of areas to teams like Celtic who have got real aerial strength and are very, very courageous in attacking the balls in those sort of areas.
Cleicus Nassau is it for Amy Gallagher, Ihain. Colette Kavanagh agus Rachel Boyle a Gianno Gama sy'n norsyn i the school ag le Hunter Bala sgynnal so as a farke a lorach tígan a cleichad ar neic a hén ach norsyn a Bala do siachad or is in torsyn corm Charlie Wellings isig a hor siachad agus gídach well hannig a bal Clarissa Literacy a gíach a nör bere daragaj Ba Emily match yn o'r sy'n fiachan I stat o'ch yr falach Eimig tegan y cleichad yn gian eich taich gyhor sgi gys sgwp ag falaf Haniel corum siachat haast agos Eich ffost a chwl Eimig Jody Bartle sy'n o'ch yr yn darigad Sy'n yn corum y feichge yn gêm a sio stoch o'ch as yn jalwg Edd Hibs agos atyn y fang y bal sŵs y ffarca troch oil Gallagher Agus mae'r eicrys sy'n Edd Hibs agus y dyfain tyl yr asch a fi Fran Alonso eiter tolichdje. Ach, yn corym ag Hibs siachat Jacinta yn o'r sy'n Edd o'r effarca Sŵs, siachat i'r Gallagher ach rhain boel gylior gystat o'ch o'r ore. Cafna, tiwnt agos siach yn mian y parcus ga sgwylig tarsyn gymwyr. Mwyr yr asgw Siobhan Hunter. Sŵs y farcus Di ysdiach cwys yn y sochgrach As Rachel Boyle Chan il cwys cwtio mora Jody Bartle Ysyd Ban eich eisiau fan gorym Yn gorym y gêm Chyd Machas y jalig Mar y hwrs miach Cysyn Jay Hachrys asne Bican ys 10 minut yn y ddacol Yn eisiau yn gorym Fys caeltje agos y corym stoch ag Celtic Ife darna acha as a league ag league Fyg sy'n Ife yalding Gybig Hibs yn o'r sy'n machas a chwys Pauline, the chance at the back post there It had to be on target
Yeah, I think, for me, any form of reasonable contact puts it on the goal face and asks a question of the goalkeeper, but I think she just takes her eye off the ball there and maybe thinks about the occasion and sees her name and lights.
The celebration was in the head before the shot possibly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she just gets it all sorts of wrong there, unfortunately, for the Celtic team.
Celtic ma ha fiaching le Coromila Cruachug. Sy'n ffeichin Jacinta cleich le shorts. Jacinta gaing yr ash fiaching I began aster y Cruachug I hyn. Chan ili faing sy'n. Agus brisig yr eist fo Hibs. Cleich ysgynial get ha. Fo Harks gystat o'ch yr sy'n. Agus yr eist ha. Rachel Boyle for Woloch as nos an eich hyn gan y farca shot. Fast and through ec a hwl to Celtic. Agus a chleich yr ash gan y lein o hwl. But if oper sgynial I o fang sŵs y farcach. Charlie Wellings told it you can use that it's on Tasha here is check the full session it Corum Horst de Bartle Mach either not Fang Shachat stoch with Rachel Boyle and ball Geochatine fat Rachel Boyle agus is Jach gonna Leon ach Tifjare Leon for Hellig Celtic. Celtic mahal le Corum Tro Sarah Harks if he fiaching and darna tel shin ein ha Corum and Kiljore the viachke barach na da Corum Kijela is Jach le Celtic a shit Brishuk Suez of Harke ha Hibs Tro Gallagher Nick Grieger is shit ga for the rash go Rachel Boyle Ishi ket the shach and me in the parke agus Joel Murroch si heen ga chleich er eerst Tasha er eerst ga sculig Tro Notley so is a farke Siobhan Hunter ha either be meestal het Napoleon Ars de Groei ach er eerst ha Hibs ga likal shachat gun wolig se biore agus Sin y ffacel galet gyntyl as y gêm a ha sio. Had gytal y Corum, Colette Kavanagh. Y bal sgwylig sŵs agos Caitlin Hayes le ciawnydd. Cynnal Caitlin Hayes get bwlwch cyntiwch as je hyn y siai cwysyn. Agos gyda han bal ar y gol ymach. Son breb osian inish de Hibs. A corner almost out of nothing there, Pauline, but so many kind of chances left begging with just the passes going to the wrong team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, unfortunately, technically, Alexa Coyle, it breaks down when it comes to her in the first instance. But again, you can see Colette Kavanagh's desire to get on the ball and take the opportunities, the shots that are available. And it looked like a fairly sore clearance for Caitlin Hayes there. But again, another opportunity for Hibernian to try and grasp something from this game.
Pink gyma prísel y fi gawn gaif na'n ffai ag chin. Had hast leis y chorym ach captain Celtic Chloe Craig leis y bal falaf Coela ach Colette Kavanagh leis y sadal leis Jack gyda. Chynnyl che le union a chorym gi gylior ach hai fiach yn cyw ri Alexa Coyle o lorach. Cwtjum i'r Caitlin Hayes ag y hwyl ach ein agos short eichter eich Gianno Gilior gys cwtjum sy'n y chiachnig agos nos yn Caitlin Hayes fiach yn eich brisig yr ers ta ywn sy'n ching ysdiach agos meirig han reicher e Gianno Cagwnig gyda serve rip efo cor fi iawn. 1-0 up in the last 10 minutes. I don't know if you'd want your centre back running out.
No, definitely not. And you can see that Fran's quite animated and frustrated down there. Maybe not so much just with the centre back, but maybe the officials as well.
Gydera Sheffer, Fran Alonso a ha. Ishelting na ha farachging se y ciolachug idd o'r y farge sio. An yn balig yn lefa ach y drast y cyw san egus yn y fysna 3 pwyngyn ag Jero Cwysyn mae Lennis Cwysyn mae'r had y drast coig mynadyn byg anwn i farach stocha rhy hun ach coig mynadyn y fysawn hebs y fiaching retail aing yr ash Fran Alonso gyda ha colach gyledd son arachwch ile ian o stocha cyw ha is i Atkinson Jeshal son chinydd. Wel, had Cymol Cwysyn soch gyda drast ys Corymachga leis y serve rib. Ha lein y chwyl chafod fat had ule sŵas gyda an y bog sy hebs mae sy'n had y fiach ydd Corymach rhywch yw sio. Bal a arst ys jach fo Sarah Harts ma ha. Ag sa chyn farciawn Clwychyd yr Gian agos sy'n fachol gyrawnig. Celtic a ha had gael yr sochgyr. Diolch dol yn ŵl, togol fal. Celtic definitely taking their time about this one.
Yeah. Game management, very, very important, especially when there's only one goal in it.
Diolch yn edrych ach bysyd dyr y darn y hyl. Hashin e faking Sarah Harts there, but Aster agos Savile Maile for Emily much heishe Savile e vrip finish as he headly as Hashin e faking it is Savile scunnel a shot. Another good save from Emily Much.
Yeah, absolutely is, and it's difficult to see if that would potentially have went in that bottom corner there, but she does well.
Bal arst, wel, bij vier geen bal arst, dan gaat het ja, bal hoe gewan nach, hij ging er asjes en daarna up. Als je een eerste vijfking aardige getien, is hij Atkinson getien Oh. Hashin faking a shot. Charlie Wellings a chin fat na parke. I guess be Izzy Atkinson chin is on the pick and vinach and Miyiri. Charlie Wellings, the goal scorer, Pauline, she's definitely made an impact today.
Yeah, she definitely has. One of the things I really like about her is, even when it's not going right for her, her work ethic, both in and out possession, is fantastic. And even if she's not scoring, she's trying to assist and impact the game in a positive way.
And even if things aren't going quite right, she still had 17 goals so far for Celtic.
Exactly.
agus chom a shit iad a darna til I ríéis de Celtic a ball a beichgal a mé man gúirste sa bhog sa bhíc ach safal a géile bó Emily much a facal gare tíach an til Ganyoni. Another great chance here in the box.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, Caitlin Hayes is such an aerial threat for Celtic, but she maybe just doesn't quite get the contact that she would have wanted. Otherwise, I think it could have been 2-0 Celtic there.
Chloe Craig geboren Giano en Noperik look Gian Hibbs gus stad a goed Val. What have we got here? A minute left, Pauline. This is when I have to ask you, who's your player of the match?
You know, I think for me there's been a lot of good individual performances today, but especially in that first half, I think, you know, Jacinta was so influential on everything that was really good about Celtic's attacking play. I know they maybe didn't take those opportunities, but you know, just the way that she found space, playing on the half turn, and penetrated the Hibernian back line and connected the play. Yeah, for me, she's today's player of the match.
3 minutes in the varach do Jacinta agus in court the Celtic do in court the skipper Celtic be Jacinta Tolliche le dúis príomh chluichetar I game ach fés gréine 3 pingen a fríomh amas a heiche fés gréiú Hibbs haast le corm ha J 3 minutes in the varach big an stoche gus rutig in a groog has in a faking Ora Gille agus karst vuye ille van a réitere Chloe Craig captain Celtic le karst vuye dírach as minute me jirig Corum getai Rachel Boyle ball for the Shachs Hula Che for Hibbs Eid Hoshach Eid Farivel Val the son of Brave serve rape a ha seo for Rachel Boyle. Balla arst isteach ma ha balla bria haun ha tuchtum in ora vokse de Gallagher. Snoors en beigkam en goors jesse vokse ha kleiche er in Hibbs Kieri brave finish. Looking for a penalty I think here, but not sure there's one there.
No. Needed a second view of it, but definitely not. I think it was maybe a hopeful shout from a Hibernian perspective.
Everything's hopeful in the last minute of the game, I'm sure. Boyle geta Urile le Corum Baul chudisteach. Arst gan evokse. Ha beichel magorst in Ace Agus isteach. Gahnen Oshan. Argus aber geretel Brisha ha shinte Hibbs. As in a beichking. Dean Gibson agus is skipper Kochi in the vake Giano Garstuchus. As in a beichking kuchok. One skipper Hibbs, Achavan Rachel Boyle, Asia Rash, Geno Kichuk, Gilcushin, Givi Savalche, Ekahulach, and Court and skipper Geno Jinshal, Geno Garstuchus. Pauline just not cleared by Celtic in the first instance, and it falls and it's stuck away.
Yeah, listen, it's a really good ball in again. It's into a dangerous area, and obviously Celtic, it's a very high pressured moment, and like you say, just not cleared convincingly, and Ellis Notley finds herself in an ideal position. And you know, I actually think the second half performance from Hibbs has been much improved, and they've kept going until these very last minutes of the game, and so thoroughly deserved.
Tel Nure Maha Bekanis Minach Rigol a shot and a Balogan Leve. Tel Nure, I guess I can hear us a Kayu Pine Nure Machriachnik his cushion Marshaw. Be Hibbs Gajera Toliches Doho Ching Asle Pine Gidavis at Ari Gata. When a horse Pauline Hakorum and Giljore the Viache as a darna lay. I guess Celtic well back Palches Corum and Achke. I session in Spain, you hear that the Corum Shinik, Jody Bartle, Kuchok na Coruman, on a very bosh end with Stocher Cass, Chloe Craig, Stat Id Cushion, Rachel Boyle and Ishche. Torch Big Ganunya, Gus, Stat with the Cushion, Fiach Stocher, Fichak Rachel at Ein, I guess a ball in the scoop of Ischach. gan het huis gan a farke Celtic tro shorts a fiachn crucian chud a godal go skippelte crucian chud godal go skippelte agus sinna hat Giano skule go ball tarsing tro Caitlin Hayes o dilla hat as a leach go hin gan a farke is a Fran Alonso se skippechochi agus na cloiche in ile either veinge fiachn Puchtug suas a fiachn tarst na cloiche in Giano sin shorts geta hai Diolch bialo a veinge sin y fiachn a val a hatal a stiach ach se boil a ha fain a ciawn a sin agus fain a bal a dash a stiach gan a veinge Celtic i ddod a farke Caitlin Hayes maha I hain y fiachn ryddig yn y chrwach Colette Kavanagh could start on a sheach well hai fain serve rip at the hon Serve rape good. They give you it lay Chuttermach. Pauline, we said it was last chance saloon when Hibs hit the corners. Now it's last chance saloon for Celtic.
Oh, it definitely is, and I think it's so important that Hibernian ensure that somebody really goes and attacks that ball and they make sure that they're marked up correctly. But as you say, it's last minute opportunity for Celtic, and they'll believe that they can score from this as they've done on several occasions before.
Ball is Jack Maha, and if was the Hool, Hachi, shit. Ha shorts for her Celtic a chaneli fang a ball ere darigage agus sinne fakel kel sinne kriach noch uge sho eke Tony Macaroni Arena Hibernian a hun Celtic a hun va Celtic it hoshoch as he hiad leave on the hill ik Charlie Wellings ach het se darna le sin notly with the hill free shall ever shin as a vinach me yirig a ha fakel kel Da skipper it O'Gachi le ping in the game here the Scanial Pauline a great game and as you said when they scored a deserved point for Hibs in the end.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, from a Hibernian perspective, the second half was far better in terms of pressing higher, much more compact and reduced the spaces between the back line and the midfield for players like Jacinta and Shen. So definitely limited Celtic's attacking chances second half, but also, you know, believed that they could get something out of the game. So good tactical change by or kind of adaptation by Dean. But I think from a Celtic perspective, they'll be upset that they didn't take some of the chances that they had. You know, Jodie Bartle in the second half at the back post, and also the penalty miss or save, whatever way you want to look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Fran Alonso's team will be very disappointed coming off. But also when you look at this in the context of the league, they're now 5 points behind Glasgow City in that Celtic place, 7 behind Rangers. That's almost their chance at second place gone already.
Well, you know, it's definitely not where they would have wanted to be. The only thing I would say is if we look back to last season, you know, this Celtic team never give up, and just now it's about, you know, yeah, they'll be disappointed, evaluating on what went wrong and making sure that, you know, they improve, especially in that final third play and being really ruthless in front of goal.
Pauline Mahangu due is on a Vicolrum a shot on a Balogun leve game iontig van game a chriachnig tel en nure rihing a shot at BBC Alapa Livingston skipper a shot a gadachi and they gun J has kuchok 3 skit skipper program spars and ban at BBC Alapa rihing snors and Kemmemorik Dunjay agus Ross County the Chiola had he hit give a shot at BBC Alapa kuchok Gemen in Raheen ach is Jay a game if I should game a good if you pre-shall as a league hashin gar torst irash go Calamach Galway because a kivara.
Tapalaska dera hine Ellen agus sinna go maha vo Valagan leifin in Jesker show agus apper garsigus ga Janu mes cluchiter in Hibernian sa dul animige vasennach kan tors kujun na show ach ek gaan hal game tera gere prische doele va show de Celtic va de gamaster ne 3 puingen hokel het alles jach en game so garit maar wonig Rangers agus Glasgow City na petre ach ge sinna go woonje we zien je daar shit BBC Alps de pick and line the hier Gronorsan we zijn lief